Okay, we need to describe the transformations of this function. So looking at number 12, there's three numbers involved in this problem. So there's the a number in front, that's the number 1/2. There's the what we call the h number, which is the number 3, and the k number back there, which is the -4. So basically we need to explain those three numbers. So essentially the a number, the 1/2, causes it to be a vertical compression. We've talked about how if the number is a whole number, like 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, that would be a stretch. Since this is a fraction, a number between 0 and 1, we call it a compression. The h number is the number -3, so we've talked about how whenever it's minus, that really means go to the right 3. So I'm just going to say right 3. And the very end, the -4 back there, means down 4. There you go. So to make a graph of these things, you probably want to pull out your graphing calculator and use the table feature. So you go and type in the function. I'm just going to do this by hand here. Basically, once you get to the table, the XY table, you're looking for the numbers that would make a nice, that would graph easily, I guess. So I think what you would see is the numbers 3, 4, and 12 actually give you nice y values to graph. Let me think about those for a second. Okay, so I've completed my table. Again, you get those values from the calculator. They are still a little bit decimals, but we just have to deal with it. So over 3, down 4, which would be right in there someplace. Over 4, down 3.5. That would be right there. And 12, -2.5, that's actually off the graph, but we can kind of imagine that it's sitting right over there. So that's the direction I'm going to head. Not much going on there, so it's just a small little subtle curve right there. And we're done with the graph. The domain and range. The domain and range comes from understanding the starting point of the graph right there. That point is the point 3, -4. We saw that in the table, and we just basically need to explain those numbers. Turns out the first number is the domain number, so we're going to say x and 3, and basically since this graph goes to the right, I would say it's all numbers greater than or equal to 3. And then the range is the y numbers, and again it's all about that number -4 from the point, the starting point. And this graph goes up forever, so we would say all numbers greater than or equal to -4. That one's done. Okay, moving on to number 13. Again, we've got those three numbers that we need to explain, the a number, the h number, and the k number. Now this time the a number is got a little bit more going on. There's a negative on it, so it's going to be a reflection. And we would say it's a reflection over the x-axis. It's the number 2, so it's a number bigger than 1, so that means it's a vertical stretch. Now the h number is +1, that means it's going to go left 1. And the k number is +5, so that means it's going to go up 5. So those are supposed to give us an idea of what the graph is going to look like. I'm still just going to pause the video and make a table. Okay, so I went to a calculator, I found those points on the table, so I'm going to make a nice graph of those. -1, 5, 0, 3, 3, 1, and 8, -1. Alright, so for the domain and range, remember it's all about this point right there. That's the point -1, 5. So those numbers are going to be in our domain and range. So the domain is going to be all x numbers greater than or equal to -1, again because the graph goes to the right, starting at -1. The range this time is actually going to be less than or equal to because it goes down. So it's 5 and below. Moving on. Number 14, describing the transformations. We have the number a in front, and we have the K number back there, but we do not have an H number. There's no left or right shift on this one. So the 3 makes it a vertical stretch, and the -5 makes it go down 5, and that's all there is to it. I'm going to pause the video and make a table. Okay, so I've got my points. Let's see, 0, -5, 1, -2, 4, 1, and 9, 4. Okay, so again we can see this graph is stretched out. Goes up forever. Remember, the starting point's important. That's the point 0, -5, so those numbers are going to appear in your domain and range. So the domain is all of the x numbers greater than or equal to 0, and the range numbers are all y numbers greater than or equal to -5. And that's the end of that. Good luck on your test. Study hard.